Welcome to the 76th edition of the Sports Lounge. I'm Raleigh Fingers. We've got the Milwaukee's own over here.
Robin Yount.
Robin Yount.
San Francisco's own the white Barry Bonds. Man.
The white Barry Bonds.
You got the big head too.
Yeah,
huge, huge goddamn head. Huge goddamn head. So the National League playoff preview coming up shortly here. But first, do you want to call it the Open or the British Open? What do you prefer?
I prefer the British, to be honest, but the Open is satisfactory.
I prefer the British as well. So we'll go with there. The British Open concluded about an hour and a half ago, and Rory McIlroy, 17 under, very impressive. Things got fairly close there on the back nine, but wire-to-wire finish, wire-to-wire winner there. Before we get into the storylines and details, initial thoughts, third major, 1 month away, can get the career Grand Slam done already. Initial thoughts before we get into the details.
It's another great win for a great player. He said himself afterwards that even he is surprised that he has 3 of the 4 completed at age 25. He never would have expected that. Obviously, the history of the game is rather important to everybody that understands it and knows it. He's well aware of what he's doing. The consistency in the last 18 months to 2 years with this win, coupled with the win a couple weeks back at Wentworth in England, is a sure sign that he's back to form and he's ready to go.
He makes it look really easy when he drives the ball as well as he does, and I mean when he's able to hit the fairways, he sure does look good. He putted really well, and I thought his short game was pretty much flawless. I mean, you look at today, he had a 71, and that's playing pretty conservatively with the lead. I was really impressed with his performance all weekend.
Mr. Stacken's not here to defend himself, but we've been waiting for that guy, and Rory seems to be at the top of that list of that guy. Now he has his third different major win. We'll see what happens here, but is it time to anoint him the next guy yet?
I would say almost half at this point. Three of the 4 already at 25. Yeah, he's been inconsistent, like I alluded to earlier, but there are guys that are going to be along. Golf is one of those things where you could go 2-3 years not win anything and still have to be pretty good. But if you don't want one guy to dominate anything similar to what Tiger did in the 2000s, or is that guy that potentially could do it? He's probably not going to do it. I would be surprised if he dominated anywhere near the level Tiger did from 2000 2005. Might not never see that again, but if there's one guy that can dominate on some sort of level, it's him, and we'll see if he can ride the momentum next month at Valhalla, UGA, and go from there.
I completely agree with David. I think he's your guy. He's your face of golf now going forward. I mean, I'm sure this stat was going to come up, but only the third guy to win 3 majors before he turned 26, and so and Jack and Tiger are the other two. I mean, when you look at Rory, to me, you look at Tiger Woods, and there's a lot bigger gap between him and the next best player. I don't think the gap is that big between Rory and the next best guy. I mean, we can go right down the list. I thought Rickie Fowler was certainly good enough to win this weekend. Sergio Garcia was too. But I think Fowler, Adam Scott. You can go right down the list. There's a whole list of guys that are good enough to compete with Rory McIlroy every time, and that's why I completely agree that Tiger's dominance won't be matched for a long time.
The depth of these fields is just insane. As somebody that's followed religiously for going on 20 years here, ever since I understood what golf was and been in love with it, but just understanding from even in Jack's era even to further back, you had Jack, you had Arnold, you had several other guys way back when that all they had to do was beat 2 or 3 other guys, and they knew that week in and week out, bigger tournaments. Hey, if I do better than this guy, I'm not going to be at the top of the board. This in the last 5 years, there's 20 guys every week coming into any major that would not shock anybody to win it. The depth of field is so much greater than it used to be.
Are you more of a fan of that style rather than two top guys?
That's tough, as you can see by me stuttering here. But I
Or
would
is it,
say,
I could go either way. I like a deep field. I like Woods and Mickelson at the top.
for me, if I had to choose, I would prefer the deep field that you've seen. I want I want the 10 to 20 guys that I can see before the week. One of these guys is more likely going to win, and then battle it out. And you're not quite sure until Sunday afternoon who's actually going to win. If it's Woods versus Mickelson and Rule all week, I would love it too, but I wouldn't like to see that all the time. I want to see more guys have a chance and to make it the Sunday run that much more interesting.
I agree that I like the deeper field, but we've never really gotten that big Woods Mickelson duel in a major, where it's those two truly down the stretch.
We had that made-for-TV event out in like Arizona or Nevada back in 2001 at 7 o'clock at night on ABC. Wasn't that good enough for you, for Christ's sake? Come on.
It wasn't, no. That was funny, though. That they lit the last 3 holes.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I would really I do really like when it's 2 guys really battling it out. I was kind of hoping we'd get something like that here at the end this weekend. That didn't happen, but all in all, I would take a talented field that's deep and has different personalities rather than 1 or 2 guys dominating.
I wish Stacken was here because the one question I want to ask him is I think his expectations are too high for the next guy, as is evidenced by the clip about 3 years ago. 15, 20 majors, pick a number. Well, give me 20. Okay, I said 4. Charlie said 6. He's at 3 right now, only 25 years old, so that's very good. Are people's expectations too high? Because as you said, the stat, 3rd player ever before he's 26 to win 3, and the list of guys with 4 or 5 is a very small list. So even if he only wins 2 or 3 more the rest of his career, he will be highly ranked as far as major wins go. What should our realistic expectations be for that next guy? Because if he gets to 8, that'd be unbelievable. That'd be all-time great.
I think 8's probably a fair number for Rory in particular. My number's been 10 ever since before he hit the big scene, before he turned professional. I've loved his game, obviously the connection of being a fan for a while and whatnot has helped me understand how good he could be, and he's showing that to some extent right now. You've got to understand, he's got 3 already. There's 27 guys in the history of golf that have more than him, and he's 25 years old. Only 27 guys in history have more than he does right now already. That's insane to think about, the potential. If he gets to 8, he'll be in the top 5 ever. I mean, just the 20s came out of nowhere. Tiger, that was seemingly possible in 2005, 2006. Injuries, car crash, all that shit derailed it. But I mean, anybody that wins 5 or more, any one of these young guys, Spieth, Rory, even Adam Scott, Matsuyama from Japan, who I think is going to be a great player. Any of those guys gets to 5, they're already all-time greats. The expectations are way too
high. I think 6 to 8 would be great for Rory McIlroy. 10 might be a little high. Just because I think it's going to be really competitive. I think it's going to be very tough to go on a stretch where you win 2 or 3 majors in a year, which I think he would need, to get to 10 or more. And that's really what it comes down to for me. To me, it comes back to, Tiger was better than everybody else because, he was in incredible shape. He hit the ball, further than anybody else, and he was bred to be a very good golfer. Now, there's a lot more guys like that who are trying to become the next Tiger Woods, and I think that makes it much more difficult for somebody to be truly dominant. And if we're sitting here waiting for that next person to come along and win 18 majors, we're going to be waiting for a really long time because I just don't think that's going to happen. And you're going to have to be that much better than the current grade of guys, which is very good. And that I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
If I have to wait here for that long, can I at least stand up and walk around?
No, you're going to sit there.
Jesus Christ!
Get your catheter out. You're not leaving the couch.
I'm a big catheter guy, as you know. I'm a big catheter guy.
Yep.
Very underrated. Very underrated. This was by far the best major of the year, I thought, as far as entertaining and me wanting to watch, since you had some drama there in the back nine, even though he was up 6 to begin the day. And yesterday, early on, had some trouble. Their thing was tied up there late, but then he comes back and he's up 6 at the end of the night. Sergio Garcia kind of shit the bed there on the 15th. Couldn't get out of the bunker. That really, right there, I saw that shot. I'm like, well, there goes your chances. Anything else stick out for you? Rickie Fowler by far having the best year. But 3 top 5 finishes this year in the majors?
Yep.
Well, in the
Robin, yeah, go.
In the grand scheme of Sergio Garcia shitting the bed in a major, this is still pretty low because he's had.
He did very, very good.
Yes, I thought he had a. I'm not a Sergio guy at all, and I thought he had a very good week and played again well enough to win. I think Fowler, McIlroy, obviously, and Garcia all played well enough to win. But yeah, I mean, when you consider all of the kind of terrible performances that Sergio's had when it's been on the line to win a major, this isn't that bad.
No. This is one of his better ones.
I wish he wouldn't take so damn long to hit the ball, though.
What are you talking about? He's one of the fastest players on tour.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Okay, then.
Was it just today that he was a little bit slow today? I'll give you that. But he's usually the one of the quickest forward.
Wasn't it like 5 years ago? People were bitching about how slow he was playing.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago.
He's picked it up apparently.
All right, well that's good. I guess I only noticed it today.
Did you notice how quick that final group played 18 today? It was less than 3.5 hours. That's insane.
They played quickly.
That's
insane.
insane.
It's good. Charles Schwartzel, my man, 11 under, top 7 finish. That's solid from him. The Schottenkirk Invitational here, which he won for the 5th year in a row. My first time doing that, I picked the winner. I thought that was good. Still didn't matter. Still didn't get close to winning. I think I finished 6th out of 13. Mr. Yout did well. Did good as well. How's that thing work there?
It's just simple. Just throw it together, and usually you got 4 guys. You get a budget at the beginning of the week. You can pick whoever you want. Spend the $50 however you want to. The top guys are 16 or 17 bucks. So you got some strategy involved. But the 4 guys play every day, and it's just whoever scores the best on a certain hole, 1 through 18, as you sculpt the day on that hole. So on yesterday, it's kind of like did it for me. I was 16 under on the 18 holes. And I had 16 birdies separated throughout the day, so that gave me a little bit of advantage every today, and I was just consistent. It's a lot of fun and just threw it together, like I said. Next year, I'll probably start it with the Masters. We can do it the whole year, Masters, the U.S., the first, and the PGA. Make it more interesting that way. See who's the most consistent throughout the filmmaking.
I'm a fan of that.
As Schottenkirk wisely pointed out at the beginning of this tournament, you need to pick 4 guys that are going to make the cut. I was fortunate enough to pick 4 guys who did that, even if it was fairly close for one Henrik Stenson. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good way to sort of follow a few guys that, aside from just leaderboard watching. Matteo Manacero, very nice start on Thursday, and then kind of a craptastic next 3 days. And I should not be surprised that Adam Scott shot 66 today when he did very little best ball wise earlier in the tournament. So it was fun. I'm glad I did it. Tied for 3rd, I'll take it. And according to ESPN, top 92nd percentile, I'll take it.
According to ESPN, Schottenkirk finished 97th.
That's good. That is good.
Everybody, 97th is good.
That is good.
In the top 99.5 percentile.
Make them send you something.
I'll try.
Send you something. Tom Watson, what he had, a 68 today?
Yep.
Holy, where does this guy get off? My God. He's 97 years old. Jesus Christ.
Fell out the game 35 years ago over on the other side of the Atlantic here and hasn't stopped since. He's won, 5 of them. Probably should have rightfully won another one 2009, whatever it was. Stuart Sink. It's just insane what he's doing, how many cuts he's made, how many events he's played. Slowing down a little bit, but at 64, he still made the cut and finished in 4th 41st this week. So.
How did Sandy Lyle do? How did Sandy Lyle do there?
Not good. Bringing up the rear. Let me. Well, they must have. They don't have him here. They took
he
him
was
off.
second to last.
He was on Friday. He was second to last. Yeah.
Biden McPherson. He finished last. With the 90 and an 80.
I always like to. I always like to look at who's in the back of the pack there on Friday, and unfortunately it was Sandy Lyle. I can't remember who it was at the Masters that I made fun of. Schottenkirk will be able to remind me. But
shit.
It was a true legend too.
Ben Crenshaw.
Yeah, Ben Crenshaw. He shot. I don't know if he was. I don't think he was like 85, 83. I think between the 2 days. I'm like, get out of here. And then he did say that was going to be his last Masters. So I did feel a little bad about ragging on Mr. Crenshaw. But he's 74. I think he's probably time to put the clubs aside. And if you want to go dink around on the Champions Tour, go for it.
You had Chris Hansen from Dateline NBC, finished 81-74, so he did not make the cut. That's disappointing. I love his show. Bubba Watson did not make the cut. Our guy, DA Points, solid effort as well. And Tiger Woods, that was a waste of time, so that was good to see. Anything else here as we wrap up? One more point I want to bring up here. He was up by 6. McIlroy's up by 6, and I thought, okay, if he could win this thing by 4, 5, 6, that'd be really good. But he, shot the worst round out of anybody in the top 20. I think he didn't need to. All he really needed to do was shoot par, and if anybody else was going to catch him, if they shot 66, 65, well, good luck. We'll go to a playoff. But I don't think this really helps him with the storyline of going into the last round and the Masters thing, and especially yesterday losing the big lead and then coming back. It was mentioned he's very inconsistent. I think that's going to keep him from winning maybe a major or two, or maybe he goes on a run here and he'll lead on Saturday and Sunday and never lose a lead again once he's ahead in a major. But today, I don't think today was good as far as if you wanted that storyline to go away of him being a collapser or whatever you want to call it.
I would agree to a certain extent, but going into Sunday, any major, no matter how much you're up by, a good Sunday is classified by you winning at the end of the day. I don't care if you're up by 10 and you win by 1, you still won the thing. I know what you're saying, and it does make a lot of sense, but I think he's still only 25. He's got plenty of time to come back forward, but he's shown he has been able to do a couple times already.
If there's one knock on Rory coming into this weekend, it was his Friday performances, and he kind of shut people up with a good Friday because what was it, a few years ago he had 66 on Thursday and then shot 80 on Friday, and so I guess the fact that he was able to sleep on the lead, much like he was able to at Congressional when he won the U.S. Open, and basically go wire to wire is pretty impressive, and gets some of that monkey off his back.
Did you enjoy the coverage from ESPN?
I think Paul Azinger is lousy. Other than that, I think the rest of it was pretty good.
Azinger's good and bad. What I really despised about him this week was a piece that he wrote for Golf Channel. Actually, he decided to take this week to take his final shot at Tiger, declaring that the era is over. It's like, well, if you're gonna write that piece, don't fucking wait until after his back surgery. He's two events back. Say that 2-3 years ago. Proclaim it over then, not now.
Who are you talking about?
Paul Azinger.
Oh, okay.
Same fucking you were talking about. But write that piece 3 years ago when he hadn't won one in 3 years. Not now when it's his first one back after massive back surgery. It's a miracle he's even playing right now. Is he going to break the Jack's record? I don't think so anymore. I thought he was for 15 years. I don't think so anymore. It's kind of a big change for me, but I still think he wins 1 or 2 more. I still think he wins another 10, 12 tournaments in his career. He cap off one of the greatest careers all time. But it's not like he's dying for Christ's sake.
Yeah, are you talking about on Friday when he was done? because that's when I think when I caught he took a few cheap shots at Tiger, mostly pointing out how he couldn't drive like everybody else anymore. And to me, yeah, he doesn't drive like everybody else anymore, but he's also not 24, and like you said, the back surgery is a big part in that. I thought it was just a chance for him to sort of spout off, and it didn't really seem fair when you consider how much that CBS, NBC, ESPN all put in on having Tiger in contention, or at least be interesting, and to just sort of trash him, I guess was interesting because you don't normally hear that, but I thought it was kind of unnecessary too.
Overall, I thought the coverage was really good, to be honest. I saw as much or more than I ever have. Scott Van Pelt is an absolute all-star. Mike Tirico's growing on me the last few years. And Norris okay. I just thought what they did. The one thing I didn't like was the constant, the same music coming in and out of breaks. Can't think of the fucking band name. But the sixth time I heard it on Friday morning, I wanted to kill somebody. It's the same rock music that's been there with the I'll have to find it, but it was just complete shit.
Was it Selena Gomez?
If it was Selena Gomez, I'd stand up and applaud every single time they play it.
Good. Sports Lounge exclusive here. Paul Azinger's next column going to be about the end of the Jack Nicklaus era. So he's really going out on a limb, calling the old guy done. Calling the old guy done. That's a shame. The other big story of the week was the All-Star festivities for Major League Baseball. I don't know if you're aware, but this took place in Minneapolis at their baseball stadium there, and it's called Target Field.
Sources
Close to me say that is what happened. It was a terrible home run derby. All-Star game was pretty good. First off, what are you going to remember about this little Target Field thing 10, 20 years from now?
For me, I think the thing that stands out, the only thing I'm going to remember in a couple of years, other than the fact that they hosted it, is Giancarlo Stanton's long ball at 500-foot shot that almost left the stadium. That's the one that's going to stick with me. The All-Star game itself was okay. It was cool to have Derek Jeter there, to have them play Bob Shepard's introduction for his last at bat in the All-Star game. That was nice. The respect the fans paid. But there's not much more. Like you said, home run derby as a whole sucked. The game was okay, and the announcing Joe Buck and company was absolute dog.
As a Twins fan, I'm supposed to remember Glenn Perkins and Kurt Suzuki teaming up for that save at the end, but I will probably forget that. I don't know. I will probably just remember the game, and I hope I remember the cool start that the American League had, where you have the double from Jeter, the triple from Trout, and the home run from Cabrera. I mean, considering that those are the three biggest names maybe in baseball right now. And so to have that, those players do what they do when it really counted, that's pretty cool. I will remember a quite terrible home run derby as well.
That sucked hard.
It did suck hard, yeah. I think part of the problem, to be honest, was only having. I know there's not anything they could do about it, even though they could have. Only one left-handed batter is kind of a letdown, and then that one left-handed batter didn't really do it a ton. So, and then the whole rain thing and all that. There's not much you can do about that, but that's just sort of a downer. And
put a fucking roof on the thing.
Yeah, where's the roof? God, I went through and I think I saved some of the tweets. I was just screen capping all these people complaining that they didn't have a roof on Target Field. And then the next night, it was a beautiful night. So that's just the way it is.
Sure, if it rains for a half hour, put a roof on it. Sure, why not?
Yeah, that seems worth it.
Yeah. Home run derby, probably the worst I've ever seen. So bad, I really didn't even watch past the first round. Dozier hit a couple. Puig, Jesus Christ, Puig. You hit the same number as we did, so that was disappointing. Cespedes wins its second year in a row, and like David said, Stanton's shot that almost left the goddamn stadium. Good Lord, that was fun to watch. they compared to the All-Star Game NBA with the slam dunk contest, they're changing the formats all the time. The format's not the problem. You have, back in the day, you had Jordan, you had Dominique Wilkins, you had the novelty of a 4'7" man and Spud Webb trying to jump in and win a couple. You had Julius Erving. You had all of these stars in the dunk contest, even Kobe Bryant in the 90s, Vince Carter in Oakland when he did it. All of these stars, and that was the big draw, because these stars can dunk, and there's a reason for that. Now, you don't have the stars doing the home run derby. You don't have the stars doing the slam dunk contest. So do you agree that it's not so much the format, it's the people in the actual contest? Do I care about DeMar DeRozan dunking the ball? No. I want to see LeBron James do that. Do I care about Josh Donaldson jacking them? No. I want to see Abreu and Trout and Cabrera. The problem is not the format. The problem is the people actually in the contest. Why is this so hard to figure out?
For the record, David Schottenkirk wants to see DeMar DeRozan in that slam dunk contest.
Well, who doesn't?
Right.
Who doesn't? And good for him because he's been in it for a couple years, and so there you go. You got to see it.
I completely agree that it's the players that are in it that are ultimately the problem. The format, it doesn't matter. I don't think fans really care as long as somebody's holding up a 10 or there's some sort of I think the round system works fine where you just have here's 8 guys, top 4 go to the next round. You have a tiebreaker if you need it. Then you go to the semifinals. Don't carry them over. It's a new round. Got to hit them out.
Pretty simple.
It seems simple. I don't know why we have to make this more difficult. I think the number 1 seeds, I guess Stanton, he didn't make the championship.
No, he didn't hit any in his last round.
Try to minimize these big breaks in the home run derby. That can become a problem.
Well, you don't need to take a break after every guy hits. A guy hits, okay. Do whatever you have to do. Have Tony Clark talk to Pedro Gomez for a minute, and then go to your next guy. You don't need a commercial break after each guy. You don't need 5-10 minutes. You don't really even need 3 minutes. You have a guy get up there, boom. You have another guy get up there, boom, then take a break. This doesn't need to be 3.5 hours long. The rain delay didn't help, but besides that, this doesn't need to take so long. And the format this year, they had 10 guys instead of 8. 10's too many. The format of if you get the most home runs in the first round, you got to bye to the semifinals. Well, that's great. So the guy that hits 8 to 10 home runs that we actually want to see, we get to see him fewer times than frickin' Todd Frazier, who gets past the first round hitting half a home run if that, he had a ground ball to short and he made it. Who wants to see Todd Frazier when you got Batista jacking him every which way and he's off for an hour and a half? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Who came up with the idea of put Smoltz 3 minutes, as many as you can get in, go? Yeah. That would solve the time very easily.
I completely agree. I think that would be guys would get tired, but I think it would also put some pressure on them to hit. Get in the box and hit, and let's not take so many pitches. Let's just get it going. I don't know why they don't use a pitching machine either. I know that it's a little easier to hit off of a live arm, but as far as making sure that pitches are consistent, and I know pitching machines aren't very consistent all the time either, but I think that would be something to consider at least. I don't know.
I'd like to see just guys with Tommy John injuries pitch in the home run derby.
Well, I think we're going to get to this, but if you don't want current players don't want to do it, let's get the retired guys back. Let's get some home runs. Let's get all of our post-steroid addled legends, McGwire. So I'd love to see Sosa after he dyed his face white back in this thing. Barry Bonds, head shrunk. Let's see it, man. Crank it up.
First off, could this happen? Could these guys, the McGwires, the Sosas, in their mid-40s, could they actually get batting practice balls over the fence? Is this humanly possible?
Yes. I think with good amounts of stretching, these guys are probably going to hurt themselves out there. But considering that we may only be doing this for 1 year because, it could be a bad experiment. I say why not? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what'll happen.
The All-Star game outdraws a normal game on Fox by like 5 times. Are you surprised that it outdraws it by that much? It shows that there's fans out there. They just don't give a crap to watch Dodgers-Cardinals in the middle of July.
That's it. I don't care about the same 8 teams over and over. I really only care about my team, and I only care about Milwaukee Brewers, and I only care about the highlights. I only care about the league leaders. I care about Baseball Tonight. I care about Quick Pitch on MLB Network.
Good job. Good job.
I don't care about Marlins Rockies. It doesn't do anything for me.
That does do something for me though.
Oh, it does. It gets you aroused for baseball.
The 293 expansion teams. Yeah, anytime Marlins Rockies happen, I'm a fan.
That's your storyline that you hold dear.
You got a purple team, you got an orange team, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, not teal anymore though.
That's disappointing. It's disappointing. I saw a guy in Walmart yesterday, a Marlins hat, and he had a jersey. I forget the jersey. It wasn't even it was. Damn it! I don't even know. It was an odd combination.
I want to. This is a Sports Lounge jersey exclusive that I want to share with you. From I think Wednesday, I was coming home from work into my parking lot here, and a kid, probably like 12 or 13, riding on his bike, had a blue Gary Brackett Indianapolis Colts jersey. I didn't even know those were made. The fact that there was a defensive linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts jersey on a kid who probably wasn't from Indiana or the surrounding area. There's a lot of questions, but I felt since we love the jerseys, the odd jerseys, that was one to share with you guys.
I got to figure it out. The kid's dad probably bought or sold drugs from Mr. Brett.
I mean,
and hence got comped a jersey and the kid's wearing it with Brett.
I wanted to leave out the race, but he seemed to be of Hispanic, Latino, Mexican descent.
Oh boy.
Well, you said he was on a bike, so I assumed.
You assumed. Well, I also, if I may, we can come back to the jersey thing, but I have some great notes from the Brewers game last week of jerseys I saw. So
you were in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
For the 75th annual Robin Yount lookalike contest.
Yep.
You were there.
Finished 4th this year, by the way.
4th, that's not 5th last year, 4th this year. You shaved the mustache, that didn't help.
Well, it wasn't a Raleigh Fingers contest, as you well know.
Oh, no. As you well know. Friday night, Cardinals Brewers.
Yep. It makes me appreciate Target Field. I know that's blasphemy for Robin Yount to say, but I do like Target Field. So the rundown of jerseys, a Stan Musial jersey with the name on the back, that's a big no-no. Because when I was at Twins Yankees, I also saw a Lou Gehrig jersey with the name on the back, and that's just not authentic. There were a couple black women ahead of me that were wearing Ryan Theriot jerseys. Saw Ricky Weeks, because Ricky Weeks is still on the team, but it's like he disappeared.
Did he buy a ticket to get in, or what did he do?
Well, he did buy a ticket to get in because he pinch hit in the 9th inning and promptly grounded out to second, I believe, at the end of the game.
So he won the promotion by a ticket pinch hit in the 8th.
Yeah. It's every Friday night home game. It's a big thing for them in Milwaukee. Craig Counsell's jersey. I saw Craig Counsell's jersey, which I kind of forgot he was with the Brewers. And then I have to look this guy up. Tyler Thornburg, reliever for the Brewers. The people had number 63 T-shirts. It was a couple, and they looked to be in their 50s or 60s. And they had these T-shirt jerseys. He's not number 63 anymore. He is.
Did you get a media guide?
I did get a media guide. Yeah, he's number 30 now. Where's the Brewers media guide?
What's that look like?
There we go, right there.
Shit-face 1 and shit-face 2. Jesus.
That's Segura and Carlos
God.
Gomez.
Yeah.
Why isn't Ryan Braun on that cover?
Why is Gomez batting left-handed, for Christ's sake?
I don't know. I don't want to get into the Gomez thing. The Twins, I was kind of surprised at the All-Star game that they gave him a big round of applause. But they did, and the Brewers, they love him. They love him because I don't think he's done a lot of bat kissing or weird.
Because he's actually good. He's actually good.
And he's good. He's good. Yeah. But the end-all be-all jersey was a gray Gary Sheffield jersey. He was with the team from '88 to '91, number 11. Played infield, I think third base, maybe shortstop in his time with the Brewers. So that was the best jersey I saw at Miller Park. Saw the sausage race. I've already forgotten who won. I think it was a hot dog. Or maybe it was a bratwurst. I don't know. And then, it was a good time. Here's the old-timey scorecard. You know, I'm a big scorecard guy. And,
who was that?
This was some sort of.
Is that Matt Stairs?
This is Matt Stairs, authentic. Matt Stairs is only on the team for 1 year. Who would have thought that, huh?
Ben Sheets. Where does he sit in this?
Ben Sheets saw an authentic Ben Sheets jersey. I'd have to really look it up here to see how long Ben Sheets was on the team. Seems like he was done 2006, 2007. I don't know. That's that, basically.
Let's get a look on Ben Sheets here. See a little Ben Sheets look up. Still only 36 years old. Had some arm trouble. From Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that's strike 1, 2, and 3 right there. Surprising.
Third all-time in Brewers losses with 83.
Surprising. I thought he started earlier than this, but 2001 through 2008.
Okay.
A 4-time All-Star, finished 8th in the Cy Young in 04 when he was an outstanding 12-4 with a 2.7 ERA. Missed 2009. Signed with Oakland in 2010, wasn't very good. Missed all of 2011. And then he signed with Atlanta as recently as 2012. He was 4-4 with a 3.5 ERA. And he is out of baseball. Career salary game for Ben Sheets?
$58 million.
71.
52 million. First round pick of the 99 draft. Or 10th overall from Monroe, Louisiana, Monroe. There's your Ben Sheets update of the day.
He's 5th in most categories, pitching-wise. Wins, losses, innings pitched, hits allowed, home runs. Home runs allowed, he's 4th, 160.
Did you get that hat there?
Got this hat there, too. Yep, that's me.
It's a good hat. I like that hat.
As you can tell, Brewers, they're a big Busch, Budweiser team.
Didn't put that together.
Yeah, kind of weird that they are. I thought that you'd see more Budweiser in the ballpark, considering their affiliation with the Busch family brewing company, but didn't happen.
This your first time there?
Second time. I'm trying to remember the last time I had been there. I think it was like 2005 or 2006. I know they played the Marlins, and I know that Luis Castillo had a triple in that game, and I think the Marlins might have won, but
they always do.
There was no home runs in this game, so you didn't see Bernie Brewer go down the slide, which is fine. I think it's kind of funny that when they played at County Stadium, he slid down into an actual mug of beer, and that was sponsored by one of the local breweries, whether that was Miller or Schlitz or whatever. That doesn't seem to be good for curbing underage drinking or children drinking. Seems like a bad influence.
Would Miller Park be a good place for a bowl game?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they could. Just this last week they had a soccer game. They took out the whole infield with turf. You didn't hear all this stuff about the Miller Park grounds crew this last week, but they did pretty good. Yeah, I mean, why not a bowl game at Miller Park? I noticed that looking up at the ceiling, at the roof, there's a lot of rust, it seems, a lot of cracks maybe. And they still do close the roof after the game. When I was there 8 years ago, one of their big, or however long ago it was, one of the big things was, well, stay after the game, we'll close the roof, and you can, watch it close. They still do that, but they didn't have anybody sticking around to watch it because the novelty of the roof has kind of worn off.
But there's 4 levels?
4 levels, yeah.
To me, watching it, never been there, watching it on TV, this seems like a gigantic ballpark once you're inside.
It's pretty big, yeah. There's a lot of seats in the upper deck. I don't know how many. I don't know if it's half the seats in the stadium are in the upper deck, but for sure 40 or 45%. And yes, there's 4 levels. There's a 100, 200, and then a suites, and then the 400 level is where yours truly watched the game. $9 tickets up there in the nosebleeds. I was 9 rows from the top, I think, which is pretty good. So, as Schottenkirk mimics a nosebleed, very nice.
Why did this game take so long?
Well, as you can see, I'm a big scorecard guy. I like to keep score during the game. Schottenkirk knows that. I lost track of how many pitchers were in the game, but there were at least 5 or 6 for each team. There were a lot of pitching changes, a lot of double switches. I think the Cardinals moved their pitcher spot twice as far as where he was hitting. It just kind of plodded along. I don't really know why. It was 4 hours.
This was a 9-inning game.
Yeah, I jinxed it because we were sitting, up in the at the 400 dad. That if the game went to extra innings, we'd move down. We'd move down to better seats. And literally the next pitch thrown to Matt Holliday was jacked over the fence for a home run. And we said, well, we won't have to worry about that because it seemed pretty clear that the Brewers weren't going to score there in the 9th inning. So
this is Matt Holliday Rockies jersey?
Yeah, it's from that awesome World Series in 2007 when they got their asses kicked. It's got the badge on the side and the whole works. But
look at you. Look at you.
Before I give myself a heart attack and talk about the announcing from the All-Star game, what is your worst jersey acquisition?
Oh.
One of my more infamous ones was I got an A.J. Pierzynski T-shirt jersey, and Pierzynski was legitimately my favorite player too. And then that summer was when he got traded. I don't think they spent a whole lot on it, maybe $15 to $20, but then he got moved. I also have, 2009 was when they had the All-Star game at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And I have a Joe Mauer T-shirt jersey from that All-Star game.
That's pretty good.
Not that that's a bad acquisition, but it is a notable one. I do have it. And then I did have an Albert Pujols, Schottenkirk knows this, Albert Pujols T-shirt jersey that was in 2010, and he was moved in 2012. So not a bad thing. I mean, you didn't see any Pujols jerseys at the game on last Friday. He might as well have not even played for him because I thought, there's definitely Cardinals fans that would have them. But no, Yadier Molina is their main guy now, and they're kind of mad about it.
They are the best fans in baseball, aren't they? Let
Just
alone
asking.
baseball. In sports, they are the best. They are the best people in the world.
Well, I was surprised at how many of them were there. We were in Milwaukee visiting family, and we stayed in a hotel probably 15 or 20 minutes away from the ballpark. And there were a lot of them staying there, and I could only ask the question, why the hell aren't you staying closer to the stadium? But they were there, They were all over the breakfast bar in the morning. Their piggish physiques around the breakfast bar, and so yeah, I mean they talk a big game. They were given there was a guy. You have to cross the 4-lane highway to get to the parking lots at Miller Park because there's a shitload of parking lots because they love to tailgate, and the tailgating was pretty intense before the game, I must admit. But on this pedestrian bridge over, there was this guy who was selling beads, like blue and yellow beads, and he was selling them for $2. Something about being good luck beads. And the game's over. The Brewers just lost. And both the Brewers and Cardinal fans are giving him all this shit because, oh, your good luck beads, and you were selling them for $4 when you were going into the stadium, and I think you just tried to get rid of them at $2. That might have been one of my favorite parts of the whole experience. That and the 5 sausages. I'm not going to be able to bring it up on the screen because it's on my phone, but the sausages on a golf cart being driven to the stadium. So just the image of 5 sausages on the golf cart was a good sight.
What race was the guy selling the beads?
He was not white. I think he was a black man, but I don't remember that.
Okay.
I will pull up this sausage photo.
Okay. While you're doing that, the American League defeated the National League 5-3. And what I found interesting is that Max Scherzer won, Pat Neshek lost, and Glenn Perkins got the save. And when I put my list together 2 weeks ago of my All-Star team before they announced it, I didn't have any of those 3 guys even on the team. Well, that's interesting. If you missed the first 2 innings, you basically missed the entire game. Adam Wainwright, he had a noteworthy night. Let's start there. Initial thoughts of Adam Wainwright saying to the media that he gave Derek Jeter a good pitch to hit. We'll start there, and then we'll get to the mess afterwards. Anything wrong with that? And do you believe the words that came out of his mouth, even though he kind of backtracked later?
I believe he did kind of a move ball there. He regrets saying it, obviously. If he wouldn't have said anything, it would have been fine. But I'm 95% sure he did throw him in front of a couple pitches over the middle so he could potentially do something with it. If he wouldn't have said anything, no story, and then he backtracked and just made it worse. But it was kind of an interesting story on a rather dull night out of it.
I think he threw him a pipe ball. I think he was fine saying it to reporters. I think he was stupid to backtrack when he was asked about it. Nobody asked Chin-Meng Wang in 2001 if he threw a pipe shot to Cal Ripken Jr.
Chan-Ho Park.
Chan-Ho Park. I wish
Chin-Meng Wang.
I wish it looked like him.
It looked like him. He said it looked like him. Are you kidding me?
Chan-Ho Park. Yeah, Chan-Ho Park.
This, one of the great moments in lounge history. Anyway, Chan-Ho Park there gave it up to Michael Jeter, and backtrack later on.
I had a moment where I thought Chin-Meng Wang played for the Dodgers, like 5 years before he came into the league.
Jesus Christ.
So what?
Chan-Ho Park. Robin Yount and the Milwaukee Brewers organization would like to apologize to the corpse, the family of Chan-Ho Park, for messing up his moment in history.
They do look alike, though. They do look alike. Why did Wainwright even say this?
I don't know.
What a dumbass.
What difference does it make if you threw him a pipe shot or not? I mean, to me, I think it was Wainwright had never faced him before, and before the game he had kept saying, "Well, I'm excited to face him." So that made me think he was going to try to get him out. I don't really understand the whole, and I mean, I don't understand the whole let's have a big show for Rivera or Jeter because they're going out. I understand that they've both given quite a bit of time to Major League Baseball. They're pretty important in the last decade of how the game's been played, more than a decade. They are pretty important.
Very.
Oh, my God. Very, very, very. 164 varies.
That's right.
I don't know why other players feel like they have to owe something to Michael Jeter. It just...
Do you understand baseball and the history and the tradition?
I do understand baseball, but what
4 strikes and you're out. 5 balls, similar to croquet.
But what difference does Adam Wainwright care about Derek Jeter, playing shortstop? That has nothing to do with Wainwright and the Cardinals or pitching.
I was more alluding to the fact that you were wondering or asking why they treated Jeter like they did or Rivera like they did.
I think the Rivera thing is a little bit different because that was in New York.
Okay.
And I think it's fine that you have whatever you have. I think it's fine that I think the fans in New York and Minnesota the last 2 years have done great things. I think it's great that the players step aside and, Wainwright did the thing with the clapping off the mound, gave him the moment. That's great. I think that's fine. I don't understand the whole, and I don't think that, the 3 guys intentionally got out last year against Rivera to have a 1-2-3 inning. But I just don't think that it's necessary to just pipe one in to Jeter. If this game supposedly counts, and that's the biggest sham we're fed, then try to get him out. I don't get it. I don't get why we're trying to have it both ways. Either it's an exhibition and we can have this whole charade, or we can say that it truly does count. And Wainwright should have been trying to get Jeter out from the beginning. I don't like the fact that then we're lying about it afterwards. Just say I threw him a pipe shot like he truly did, and don't backtrack, and it doesn't matter. People don't care.
And then you have Erin Andrews do this thing in the 7th inning, the 8th inning, whenever the hell this happened. In the dugout.
It was in the 9th inning. The game was coming to an end.
9th inning. Chapman was on the mound.
Yep.
And they do their little interview. And he backtracks and says, I would never have done that. I want to win, and I do enjoy that Wainwright and the Cardinals are very good. They are the Yankees of the National League, and they've been to the World Series many times recently, and they have just as good a shot as anybody to make it again this year, and that this could cost them Game 7 or going on the road for the first 2 games, which, again, going back to the dunk contest, keep it simple. If you have a better record, you should get home field over the team you're facing. It doesn't make it's just like the NBA Finals. Why is it a 2-3-2 instead of a 2-2-1-1-1 when it's one way the entire rest of the way and different in the championship? It shouldn't be that way. But then Erin Andrews says what she says, and Wainwright backtracks and says, no, I didn't mean that. So he lied somewhere along the line. And then she ends it with, don't you just love social media? Which I have no idea what that had to do with anything. The only thing I can think of is instead of knowing what Wainwright said later that night or the next day or after the game, because of social media, some writer or whoever was there when Wainwright said this could tweet it out, and that got picked up, so they felt the need to do a live interview during the game. But other than that, don't you just love social media? I have no idea what that had to do with anything relating to this story whatsoever.
Yeah, the whole thing just bugs me a lot. I think Wainwright said what he had to say. He was given the chance in front of, I would imagine, a couple dozen reporters who asked him about it. He said, yeah, I threw him a fastball. I threw him a couple fastballs. And he hit it and he said, I wasn't expecting him to hit it for a double. Well, Wainwright, come on, dude. He's been playing for however long he's been playing. Jeter knows what to do with a fastball. But then just the softball after softball questions from Erin Andrews just kind of makes me queasy. And then you have the social media thing, which really has nothing to do with this, like you said, because, even if let's say this is 1980, maybe the word about what he said is passed up to the broadcast booth and they talk about it. Otherwise, we read about it in the next day's paper, and then everybody's talking about it then. This is going to get out. He said it. He shouldn't have said if he didn't truly believe it. That's just stupid. I don't. What bugs me is him saying something like that and expecting reporters to think he's being sarcastic or whatever. Is just dumb. It's really dumb, especially when he's not a rookie. I mean, he's been there before. It's just stupid.
How much money, Mr. Schottenkirk?
I was just going to say, I don't think there's a softball question in an all-star game format. There is importance to the game, and yes, but any sort of in-game interview, I don't think there's a question you can ask that you would have a legitimate problem with. It's a fucking all-star game. You're there for fun. You're there to see the stars that you might not see the rest of the year. And the reason she brought up the social media thing is if that doesn't get running wild all over the internet right after he says it right away, nobody fucking knows, and it became the story of the night on a night where there were other stories.
If you're in charge of Fox, do you make the call with the Adam Wainwright interview during the game? Is that a big enough story to say, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it live, and we're gonna do it live.
Well, I mean, I think it's good that they had it because obviously Wainwright became a story the night of. I thought it had the potential to be, substantive, but it became so clearly a PR move that I would have just let Wainwright say what he had to say because I would agree with Schottenkirk. I don't expect there to be hard-hitting questions. I understand that this is when you're a rights holder and there's going to be softballs. You're not going to hold them to the fire like it's, whatever TV show.
Like it's The Insider.
Right. So I think it was so clearly a PR job. That's what bugged me the most about it. Is that it's just put out a statement saying I don't know what you do, but I hated it a lot.
I'm okay with the interview, just not the last part about the social media. Like that was the big to-do. Like somebody recorded him in the bathroom saying this, and then it was a private conversation. It was just, reporters happened, and whatever. I thought it was pretty dumb and worthless. But the other thing, the thing that I'm going to remember this game for, is how bad Harold Reynolds was. Just making shit up. The worst was saying Max Scherzer was a closer with the Diamondbacks when it came up, when he's never. I don't even think he's ever had a save opportunity. I know he doesn't have a save. So when I heard that, I'm like, well, I remember he got traded to Detroit. He was with Arizona for a short time. Maybe he was a closer. I'm not sure. But then I looked it up, like, no, that never happened. So I don't know where he got that from. Trying to and even if he was right, let's say Max Scherzer was a closer for Arizona 6 years ago. He's trying to make the comparison that compares to this game because Max Scherzer is used to pitching one inning. But let's say he was a closer with Arizona in 20 lifetimes ago. What does that have to do with this? That was 6 years ago. That makes no. That's like saying, well, Joe Nathan used to be a starter 15 years ago for the Giants. Well, he should be a starter in the All-Star game. He knows how to go 5-6 innings. Well, no, he doesn't because he hasn't done it in 15 years. That, along with a myriad of other things which we kept track of throughout the game, just saying random shit like Mike Trout is the best guy coming for a ball in center field, in left field, wherever the hell he played at. Saying Robinson Cano is the best cutoff guy, even though he had a terrible throw soon after that. That was tremendous. Apparently, Miguel Cabrera has more fun than anybody. This is a metric that is measured. Miguel Cabrera has the most fun of anybody. His fun meter is at the top. Just stupid shit like this. And you had Tom Verducci, which I have a personal beef with, back in 1987 at St. Thomas. Me and him hit it off, not so hot. So the whole thing was bad, and it elevates Joe Buck to become less shit because there's more shit around him. Therefore, he becomes less so. But I thought this was bad. This was very, very bad.
You know that I am a Joe Buck apologist because I don't think he's as bad as people like to say. My favorite Harold Reynolds.
What a disgusting act! He bent over and rubbed his ass. That really turned it. That turned it for me.
I'm over it. It doesn't matter to me. My favorite was before the game. They had Harold Reynolds out in center field on MLB Network interviewing the players, terribly, by the way. And he was talking with Koji Uhara's kids, and he asks him, "How'd you learn English so good?" to his kid. "How'd you learn English so good?" And that about sums it up with Harold Reynolds. He's terrible, and I completely agree with the idea of giving people second chances. Harold Reynolds has gotten a second chance, and he's used it to get on Fox. He's done fine. If he's the best analyst Fox has, if Verducci's the best they can do, and I know it's not because I'm a believer in John Smoltz or Ron Darling or something. It's pretty sad, in my opinion, that it's taken. Fox has had Major League Baseball for 15 years, and they haven't been able to get somebody good behind McCarver. The only good guy they had was Terry Francona, and he left. He's doing the managing of the baseball, so that's kind of that.
Yes.
Oh, and the other line, the Stars have shown up tonight from Harold Reynolds at an All-Star game. That's funny.
Another one that I enjoyed, Ian Kinsler, former All-Star for Texas, current All-Star second baseman for Detroit. Ian Kinsler has done a nice job of transitioning to Detroit from Texas. You don't see that often when a guy gets traded. Well, he was an All-Star in one place, now he's an All-Star in another place. His production hasn't dropped off. I don't know, is there a trend here where All-Stars get traded in the primes of their career and then all of a sudden they're no good no more? Did I miss this story? When did this happen? Jeff Samardzija, All-Star, traded from the Cubs to Oakland. He's transitioning quite well. Well, why the hell wouldn't he? He's a very good pitcher. So I don't understand that at all. And then you got Joe Buck saying that they're great the next night in some column, which was terrible. My beef with Tom Verducci, one, he doesn't have Twitter, so that's great. Welcome to 1996. The second thing he did, he wrote that thing on the Mets and Matt Harvey a year or so ago, saying how terrible the Mets pitching, developing of pitching was when it was a crock of shit. And mathematically, if you want to take the stats that he threw out there, every team sucks at developing pitching just because there's 60 rounds of the draft, and they select 30 pitchers, and you're lucky if 2 or 3 of them ever get to the major leagues, and you're lucky if one of them ever turns out to be worth a shit. And Tom Verducci had a thing about Don Mattingly a couple of weeks ago in Sports Illustrated, basically saying, what trouble the Dodgers are in and how, they're a wild bunch and now they're in first place, so that's stupid. And for me, Tom Verducci's a guy who, let's say you see a fire, and most guys like Marcus Truex, let's say there's fire in Mitchell at the Corn Palace, you'll get on your bike, you'll say, I'm going to cover this fire. I'm going to cover. That's you, Marcus Truex, or that's you.
You cut out a little. What do I do?
You'll go on your bicycle to the Corn Palace when it's on fire.
Yep.
And you'll see, hey, the Corn Palace is on fire. That's probably going to be in our paper tomorrow. There's news there to cover. I'm going to go cover that story.
That's right.
That Don Mattingly thing with Tom Verducci in Sports Illustrated, I thought that was a thing where Tom Verducci's like, well, I'm going to walk across the street here. There's no really news that I can see, but I have to get something in the paper, in the magazine. So I'm just going to make a story up, essentially. I'm just going to try to, unlike you'll go somewhere where there is news. Tom Verducci, he'll go somewhere. There's no news, but he has to get a story somehow. So it's like, well, I'll just say this shit.
I have a strict news-only policy when I get my news. I have to go where there's news to get news.
You're not going to go to some random auto garage in Mitchell and say, hey, guys, what's the story? No.
I wish I could do that, but you really can't.
That's what Tom Verducci does, though. He goes to the auto repair shops around this country and says, hey, let me get a story that's not there.
That's one hell of a life.
Sure.
Paid well. Gets paid well to just make shit up.
That's a hell of a deal. The Astros didn't sign their number one pick, Brady Aiken, high school pitcher. So
Whoops.
he's kind of shit out of luck, and that really puts a wrench into my 2017 World Series plans for Houston and Sports Illustrated. How can this happen? I mean, Sports Illustrated had that big cover story, and part of it was them deciding who to pick here. They had 4 or 5 different guys they were choosing from, and they pick a guy, and they didn't want to pay him the $5 million or so that a number one pick should get, and they let this guy go. Stupid.
Maybe they did it just to spite him. He saw the Sports Illustrated thing. He sees the Astros parading around like they're going to win the championship in 3 years, and he's like, screw it, I'm not going there. Well, I don't know. That's just something I just made that up.
Tom Verducci says that's what happened.
Okay.
This is more of a Houston problem, not wanting to spend money or not having enough money available to sign their number one pick, which is a poor job by them.
Yep.
But in compensation, they get the second pick overall next year. I think on top of wherever they finish this year, which should be in the bottom 5. So with 2 top 5 picks, I've never heard of that for a baseball team.
That ain't bad.
So hopefully they can sign one of them. Maybe if they're lucky enough, they can sign 2 of them. That's going to take a hell of a lot of money, which apparently they don't have. Also, watching David Price carve up the Twins like he does last night, and I found it interesting that Dick and Bert said, well, they just can't sign this guy because they don't have the money, they don't have the fan support, they don't have this or that. Am I wrong to think that if they wanted to keep David Price, they could?
They could, but all the rest of the young talent that they have would be, if they sign Price long term, in 2 years, the only 2 people worth the shit on that roster would be Price and Evan Longoria. They gave Longoria $100 million a year or 2 ago. They spent the most money they ever spent on any player on him. Hence the reason I was assuming they don't have the amount of money it's going to take to sign Price. And another reason, David Price isn't stupid. He understands he can get $200 million from the Dodgers, the Yankees, or somebody else. And Tampa's not going to give him that no matter what. He probably wants to get out as much as they want to try to get something for him.
Is Tampa's farm system any good anymore? Because it seems like that's fallen off, and they don't have anybody. Anybody that's worth a damn, and Tampa's already there. It seems like we're not waiting for whoever the hell, Billy Johnson to come up to Tampa Bay. It seems like the well is dry as far as Tampa Bay prospects are concerned.
That's because they've been picked at the top of the draft the last few years. They've been decent in the playoffs. It's just it took a few years for it to run dry, but it's definitely pretty much there now.
I think the Evan Longoria thing might be regrettable, like you mentioned. I mean, I realize that they didn't want to really let him go to another team, especially when division rivals were waiting on whim to take him. But that could be a historically bad contract for the Rays when you consider some of the reasons you guys have laid out.
Tracy McGrady retired. Your favorite Tracy McGrady inning?
My favorite Tracy McGrady story is that he struck out the last guy he faced. For only strikeout he had in his whole professional baseball career comes on the last batter. That's pretty good.
Pretty good. I thought his 4th inning was my favorite, so I enjoyed that. Because it makes the Vikings look like an asshole, even though if Kluwe goes down with the ship. We've talked about it before. Where do you stand on this? Do you want this just to go away, or are you like me to where you want to see this get as messy as possible for entertainment value?
I want 2 things, and then you guys can sort of have the floor. I want stuff to come out. I want details about the team, things that, because the NFL and the 31 teams other than Green Bay are so closely guarded on all these secrets that they seem to think they have. And if we could get any financials, I really like seeing the financials of these teams making money hand over fist and all that. That's
Which one was your hand?
Hand over fist, right?
This is your hand. This is your fist.
Hand over fist,
Okay.
something like that. Dante Culpepper. I think and the other thing I want there to be some sort of penalty paid. I think Mike Prefer having to sit out 3 games, potentially 2 games if it was reduced.
It'll be 2. It ain't gonna be 3. It'll be 2. Let's be realistic.
I would like to say that I'd like to see some sort of cultural change that would be more not as stupid about things like this. But I know that's not going to happen. I mean, the NFL, I think, is the ultimate meathead type sport, so I don't expect any sort of changes in that regard.
It's a mess. I would kind of like to see more details come out, like you guys have said, but I don't want it to be 2 weeks from now and training camp's well underway, and that's the prevailing storyline is all the shit that's come out. I want to be focused on the football as quickly as possible. Kluwe, I've said before, this whole story has bothered me from the beginning, from both sides. Kluwe doesn't look great in this, no matter what happens. For the Vikings look like shit, obviously, but it's just a story I would really like to forget as quickly as possible.
I will say Kluwe's wearing out his welcome with me. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. I think all of them are pretty clear. That it's sort of dragging out the things in the mud. I think we'll see it for the first few days of training camp, and then it will move pretty clearly to the back burner. I think the one interesting thing is that it doesn't impact many of the other Vikings, except for maybe Blair Walsh, because he was mentioned as one of these people, and then Prefer. I mean, the coaches otherwise are the same. I would expect that Ziggy or Mark Wilf will have to answer questions about it. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be real extensive. Spielman, I mean, I guess I'm warming up to the idea that Kluwe, was cut because of his statistical performance, although I'm still skeptical.
It has been a while since an off-season shit show, has it not?
That's the one. I mean, the Vikings are like the league leaders. I mean, they didn't win last year because of the Patriots, which was a rare. I mean, the Patriots came out of nowhere to win.
A double murder got him in. A double murder did him in.
That did it. But normally the Vikings are a top 5 team when it comes to off-season stuff like this. You look at the Bengals. I mean, nobody doesn't like the Bengals. Just numerous arrests. So it's good to see the Vikings, back where they belong.
Good. I like Chris Kluwe. I'm on his side on this. You say he's worn out your welcome a little bit with this. He seems like a guy that he knows. Okay, I'm never going to kick again, obviously.
Right.
And nobody else is going to bring this up. But his personality, besides being a kicker and a special teamer on the other field for 2 hours during training camp by themselves, he's even more different and unique and a non-football player on top of that. So he's going to pursue this thing to the end here, which I like. He's not going to just roll over and give up easy, and stuff will come out that'll be fun to see. But explain to me the people that think Kluwe should go away, that he should not pursue this, or that he should just let this go. Because I don't feel like he should, because I think it's a fairly serious thing that should be dealt with.
The reason I'm losing patience with Kluwe is because all of these moves are pretty attention whore-worthy moves. I mean, they're just kind of moves to drag this out. And I understand that if he doesn't drag them out, nobody will. And that.
Well, how could you do this and not be attention-seeking, or is it his fault? Because the media loves something like this,
right?
And it's going to get a lot of coverage.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, David.
I was just saying, you just do it in court. Last night's Twitter rant, another example. Yeah, he said what he wanted to say, and a lot of it's probably true. And what's going on? He's alluding to the fact that there's other stuff, that there was 2 prominent Vikings players that were underage pro and this and that. Well, if you're going to do that, do it in fucking court, and it'll all come out eventually. Don't add to the story and don't stir the pot anymore. If you think you're right, and he probably very well is, prove yourself in court and don't make it an ass out of the whole situation where a situation is already as shitty as it can be. Don't make it any worse than it already is.
I like that he goes to Twitter and gives you a little tidbit, it's like a preview for the next week's episode. We're going to find what two Vikings are pedophiles, something, a teaser of sorts. So and he's a big Twitter guy, and he's probably not a guy you want to piss off because he's not afraid to go to that level. Anything else here, Marcus?
I don't have much else. It's amazing that the training camp is only, it's less than 2 weeks away, and then we're gonna get drowned out with NFL stuff. I feel like it's been pretty quiet this summer, and I think it's gonna be pretty loud for the next month of just hype.
They're big on doing their power rankings already. They're ranking the teams already. They're really big on this. I seem to see. Like every day on the Sports Center or the Fox Sports Live or whatever, they're ranking teams, or on the football websites, it's one day we're ranking the teams 32 up. So that seems to be a big deal.
I mean, Pro Football Talk, their list started quite a ways back, I think, and yeah, I've seen it on Fox Sports Live. I think the Vikings were 30th or somewhere around there.
That's ridiculous. I mean,
whenever they did the Vikings, I saw the first 6 or 7 teams they had up there, and the Vikings were already on the list. I'm like, well, okay. Everybody's got to have a power rankings. Jaworski with his bullshit quarterback rankings. Yep, those are out. I don't know where he put the Vikings. Probably don't even have a guy on the list this year, but.
We did the NFL top 10 players a few months ago. We ranked them not before the year, but actually after the year, after we saw them play or looked at the stats.
That's stupid. Why would you wait for the things that they actually do to decide how they are?
That was pretty dumb of me to do that. We should do it before. We should do.
He gone.
You did. He did. He's gone.
Made it through an hour and 20 minutes, but goddamn, he's dead.
I don't know what he was going to say. Hopefully he comes back.
He was alluding to the fact that we should do a preseason top 10 list this year.
I think we should do a top 10 every day.
Every day.
Rank them. Yeah, I moved J.J. Watt up one spot because he had chicken for lunch. Grilled chicken. That grilled chicken's good for you, and that's why I moved him up.
That's good.
Yep. We were saying top 10 list.
Yeah. So we should probably do our NBA list sometime fairly soon, since that season's over with. But I don't understand the power rankings. I mean, I don't give a shit if you have San Francisco at 5 and Seattle at 2 and Denver at 1. They're going to play. If you win enough games, you'll make the playoffs. If you don't lose in the playoffs, you're going to win the Super Bowl. I give zero shits about it. I never look at the power rankings. I never, God damn it, it's Tuesday morning. I got to go check out the power rankings. Who went from 15 to 12? I just have zero interest in this. Like in 90, when we were growing up, there were no power rankings. I mean, who gives a shit?
Power rankings are one of those definitely internet-driven things, where they've been on the internet since sports websites started, and yeah, every week there's a new one. I think it was actually when I was.
If you want to give me your top 5 or bottom 5, that's fine. I don't give a shit who's 12, who's 17, who's 22 or 23 or 24. What the hell does it matter?
The one I did like is, I think it was last week, and I was reading the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and they had power rankings in there, and the Twins were like 29th. I'm like, shit, that's bad. But I mean, other than that, I completely agree. I normally don't look at them. I don't really care. I'm interested sometimes to just see where, okay, yeah, if you had to rank all 30 teams, where would you put them? But I don't like watching them or putting any real stock into it.
No. I want to end the program on another mystery for me that I just can't figure out. The Shabazz Napier thing with Connecticut, and they don't have enough food, so the NCAA passes the thing where they can have as much food as they want. And now you have the old Miss quarterback here, Wallace. What's his first name? He's so goddamn good. Bo Wallace, your boy.
Dr. Bo.
Dr. Bo Wallace. He says a lot of guys go to bed hungry at night, and that's a real thing. This is what he said to CBSSports.com with the media days a month and a half before the season actually starts. Let's have our media days. He says we have our breakfast and lunch. Our cafe is open, so you can go and swipe your card as we've all done. But dinner you have to pay for. We need more compensation for that to be able to survive. If I didn't have my parents, I don't know what I would do. A lot of these kids don't have some of the same things that I do, and I know that their struggle is something terrible. So we've all been to school. We've all swiped our cards. $1,000 per semester was more than enough to feed me. Again, with athletes, the special privileges that they get, especially in the season. You've seen the pizza boxes, Traxer. You've seen the chicken come out of there. If it's a game day, you don't have to worry about a single meal. If it's a road trip, you don't have to worry about a single meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, anything. So I am 7 different types confused here as to what the hell these guys are talking about, because the last thing that athletes should be complaining about is pizza, because Mackenzie Casey gave his pizza to his 5 kids after every game. And, you have the Heemstras, you have the Marcus Heemstras of the world play 4 minutes and get his name chanted, Marcus, by 6,000 fans at the Sioux Falls Arena for no goddamn reason whatsoever, because he had 7 points and 4 rebounds in 20 minutes. Terrific. And he gets a pizza, and yet we got Bo Wallace complaining we don't have enough food. I don't understand.
I can only imagine that the food setup is better at Mississippi than it is at South Dakota State. But
maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not. I know that that is one of the first things that ever stuck out to me. I remember, I think I've actually told this story on here, but covering STSU Minnesota at Williams Arena for the first time, and just seeing this guy come down the hallway, he's got 15 pizzas. I'm like, well, where the hell is he going with that? Well, right on into the locker room is where and everybody gets a pizza. The coach, it's just, I think the coaches all got one or shared 2. That is one of the things that does make your jaw drop. And then, I know a couple times, after football games, especially road games, North Dakota State in particular, you'd see all these boxes, pizza boxes. There'd be 60 or 70 pizzas there. And you just shake your head. It's just, you can't wrap your head around it. I can understand that maybe the off-season is a little tougher, but, I know that these players are on meal plans. The scholarship players for sure, and Bo Wallace is on a scholarship. I don't fully buy into the whole food thing.
Did you ever go hungry in college?
No, look at me. Do I look like somebody who went hungry?
You're a Hall of Famer. You're Robin Yount.
Yeah, Robin Yount didn't go hungry.
I never went hungry in college. Traveling a few times with athletic teams, whether it be softball. They eat before the game. They eat after the game. I don't understand how anybody, let alone a BCS team, let alone an SEC team, let alone a fucking football team, could go hungry. One of the great mysteries of my time. We'll keep digging. We'll see what we can get. We'll see if we get any mashed potatoes. Whatever the hell else you want.
Thank you for mentioning mashed potatoes, because I needed to drop this story, and I also need to show you this sausage picture. There it is.
Oh my God!
All of them piled onto that little golf cart there. That's pretty great. And then I watched the Bob Uecker documentary that was on Thursday night on MLB Network. It's very good if you get a chance. He has a great story about how he was first a scout before he was a broadcaster with the Brewers, with the Milwaukee Braves, and they had him in the Northern League. And he mentions a story about mashed potatoes when he was in Aberdeen. Do you want me to spoil the story, or do you want?
Yes.
Okay.
MediaCom and Laverne doesn't get baseball MLB Network. Very disheartening. Very disheartening. They get the NFL Network, but not NBA TV or any of that. So that sucks. I would trade those two for NFL Network any day of the week. Better than Hawk Harrelson's last year. About the same.
I don't remember watching the whole Hawk Harrelson one. I don't think I saw that. But this was very good. Profiles the whole relationship with Johnny Carson, which is, I mean, pretty amazing when you consider that, everybody kind of considers Uecker to be a comedian who happened to play baseball and then work in baseball. But the Aberdeen story was that he was a scout and he was a bad scout, and he happened to spill mashed potatoes and gravy on one of the scouting reports, and he kind of just wiped it off, but he still sent that scouting report in, and then the general manager at the time called him up and he's like, I can't read this damn thing, and there's mashed potatoes all over it, and apparently he was in Aberdeen at the time. Which I just think that's just kind of a funny story, and he mentioned that he was a pretty bad scout and was able to get his way into broadcasting, and as they say, the rest is history.
He was scouting in Aberdeen?
He was scouting the Northern League, which, of course, at that time, I think did go through Aberdeen.
You don't get any more north than Aberdeen.
You don't. That is the last frontier, really.
There's nothing north of Aberdeen that I'm aware of, so...
They didn't say if he scouted Brentford.
Nobody has in a long time. Nobody has in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there's reason for that.
David, give me something. You got a pay-per-view tonight. Battleground. This seems not much of note heading out of this pay-per-view or heading in. I don't see anything happening here.
I'm kind of on the same wavelength, but the Cena's not scheduled to be on Raw tomorrow night because he's going to be shooting on a movie, I believe. That leads me to believe there is some sort of chance that they will drop the belt to a different guy tonight. Lesnar's supposed to show up tomorrow night. That's interesting to lead up to SummerSlam begins right away. He'll be there. I don't see him losing, but if he does, I just can't see them putting the belt on Roman Reigns at fucking Battlegournd. I just can't. It wouldn't make any sense. I think Cena wins. He might get attacked by Lesnar tonight even, or some sort of storyline aspect, so there's a reason that he's not there tomorrow or the week after. But it would be 90% chance that Cena wins that title match. The rest of the card is decent. It should be okay pay-per-view, but it's not one that's very high on my list.
Since he's not going to be on TV for a week, or for tomorrow, you have him win the match, just like when Lesnar came back a couple years ago. You have Cena in the ring, you have Lesnar come out, you have him beat the hell out of him, he's off TV for a week, you set up the title match. It's as simple as that, I think. Yeah. I don't expect Brock Lesnar to be there tonight, so it'll be interesting to see if Cena's just left off of TV, and that's just the way it is. So Lesnar, Cena, likely for the title. Your next pay-per-view, which should be a pretty big one. Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone here a few nights ago. Not a classic by any means, but entertaining enough. Good kick to the head, knocked him the hell out. Should have finished it earlier. A ref mistake on that. Thoughts on the fight? And Donald Cerrone, does he finally break through here, or is just another thing of, well, he can beat guys that are not in the top 5, but if he fights an actual top 5 guy, he's probably going to lose.
It was a decent card overall, but that fight was pretty good. Like I said, it should have been stopped. I think he's going to have a chance. I think he does break through and might see himself get a title shot in only 2 or 3 fights. Probably cool. I don't think could I see him get a top 5 guy and lose again? Yeah, I could. I still think there's a few flaws in this game that the top guys are able to figure out and punish quite quickly. But it was a decent night, and last night or yesterday over in Ireland was absolutely insane. So that was good to see Dana White call the most successful Fight Pass event ever. So that's a good sign of those years.
Yeah, it sounds like the crowd was into it, and McGregor, a lot of people like him, so we'll see if he comes over to the States and fights here fairly soon. It sounds like December is going to be a pretty good month for UFC. Any thoughts on maybe Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey up next? Any fights you're looking forward to? I feel like there's going to be a lot of cards late in the year. There's going to be more than one title on the line.
Yeah, it's setting up for November, December, and that New Year's card to be very, very interesting. As far as Rousey goes, whoever she fights, I'm not convinced they're going to do anything to her until I see it happen. But the competition that's coming in, and the guys that they have signed the last few weeks, then Holly Holm and one other one that's not coming to me right now. But there's a step up. I think Rousey pretty much controls that division. She will for the foreseeable future. In the immediate future, I want to see that Lawler fight here, and I think this upcoming weekend. And we talked about that like a month ago. That I was really excited for that. Still am. I think that might be the best fight of this whole summer window, and it should be a good one. But it's like I said, setting up well for the end of the year, and that's probably what they had envisioned with all the scheduling that they've been doing. Some of the injuries of the top guys have all those out of that fight that he's supposed to be in a few weeks, but he'll be back in a little bit afterwards. A good year. It's going to get even better.
Robbie Lawler going to win?
I think so, but I would not be surprised. I put that percentage-wise probably 70-30. I think he wins, but I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't be very surprised if he found a way to lose that fight.
Me and Marcus talked off air a couple weeks ago about how many cards there are, but Marcus Traxler here. Marcus Traxler here. Yep. Better watch on Saturday night because that's the only UFC for the next 3 weeks. There won't be anything for the next 3 weeks, so you better get on it.
Oh, the fight's gonna be, are they going to be worth a damn or no?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Saturday night should be pretty good.
I still won't watch.
Good. We'll tell you what happened though.
All right. Thanks.
And Anthony Johnson looked pretty good against Phil Davis, did he not, last time out?
Yeah, he one of those guys that's kind of been up and down, kind of a bit of a mystery to me in the rest of the fight plans. But he's looked okay, and we'll see what he does against Nog here in a little bit. And that's a big fucking fight for him. That's those two fights. Buena's on. I'm just looking at the card now for next week, and I didn't realize the depth of that card. Buena's fighting Bermudez. You got Kroshenko, my personal favorites on the main event of the tournament card. It's still on Fox. It should be a good night. And Traxler, I do recommend you watch it. It's free. Nothing else you got going on unless you got some shorties up in the club in Mitchell or something. But
you know me.
That's right.
Do you have any tallies, or are they all shorties?
Mix of tallies and shorties.
Good.
If you're not mixing, then things can get stagnant.
Kyle Kingsbury, will he have a good mustache or not?
Yes, he'll probably be in prime form, and excited to see it. And that again, another fight there that's intriguing as all shit to me. Him against Patrick Cummins. Cummins talked all the shit and got his ass beat by DC. But we'll see what happens.
He won last time out. We'll see if he can make it 2 in a row. So a good show, a long show as always. In the hot summer heat, it's hot out now. It's too hot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why'd you decide to have it in the hottest part of the day?
It's because the grounds crew couldn't make it any other time.
That's bullshit.
That is bullshit. That is bullshit and horseshit. So for Will Clark, what do we have for Ben Sheets? I'm Jeremy Giambi. This has been the 76 Sports.
Should have slid it home. Why didn't you slide it home, you idiot?
I didn't even think there'd be a tag, let alone
idiot.
Stupid on me. Stupid. We'll welcome Hildebrand back. He got called into duty. Air National Guard had to call him in. So Hildebrand will be back next week. We'll see if Mr. Stacken will face the music as well.
He never will.
Never will.
He's a pansy.
He's a sure. Okay. McIlroy only 17 away from the 20. So we'll see how many majors Rory McIlroy will win this coming week. Hopefully it's a couple because 20 is a lot. So tune in for that one, number 77 next week, right here. I forget where the show's going to be, so I have Marcus remind me all the time. Where's next week's show going to be?
Inside the Sports Lounge. Inside.